the referee and his assistants. It's Robert Jones tonight, who has made the relatively short journey up from Merseyside. He refereed Newcastle 3 times last season. They won all 3 games. Ian Husson.
Well, we didn't lose many last season.
Well, no. I was focusing on the winning aspect, but they're all at St James's Park, those matches. Ian Husson and Adrian Holmes, his 2 assistants, Darren Bond, the 4th official, and Jared Gillett, assisted by Eddie Smart on VAR duty tonight. Manchester City also had giant banners draped over the edge of the advertising board at the bottom of the upper tier on the far side, showing the images of their 3 trophies that they won. They are being passed down to the bottom of the stand to be folded up. The giant surfer that was on the pitch has now been picked up and is being led off by some of the City volunteers. There are loads of mascots and loads of people on the pitch. We mentioned earlier that there's just so much going on at Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium every time you come here. Just always feels like a big event. There'll be some pictures and there'll be a coin toss shortly as Newcastle players remove their black training jackets to reveal the black and white stripes, black shorts and black socks for the outfield players. Pope in a mid-pink goalkeeping kit with white gloves and boots. Ederson at the other end in green, also with white gloves and boots, and Manchester City sky blue shirts, white shorts, sky blue socks. The names and numbers on the back of Manchester City's jerseys are in white, Newcastle's are red, and the referee and his assistants are wearing luminous yellow shirts, black shorts and socks. Must be sponsor pictures in the centre circle. There are television cameras on the pitch, Newcastle players high-fiving, and they'll be getting into a huddle shortly, as they do before every match. Manchester City, Ederson in goal, Kyle Walker, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias, Joško Gvardiol, Rodri, Mateo Kovacic, Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez, Jack Grealish, Erling Haaland. 2 goals against Burnley last weekend for the Norwegian. Newcastle, Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman still looking for his first goal in black and white. This will be his 46th appearance. Dan Burn, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Joelinton, Miguel Almiron, Anthony Gordon made his first start for the club in this fixture in March, deservedly keeping his place on the left side tonight. Alexander Isak. The United bench is Martin Dubravka, Jamal Lascelles, Callum Wilson, Matt Ritchie, Matt Targett, Harvey Barnes, Tino Livramento, Elliot Anderson, Sean Longstaff. It could be a high quality game of football, and there is hope, maybe a bit of confidence that it could go better than it usually does here for Newcastle United. Maybe they could even beat the best and continue their wonderful start. It was only 1 game, but it was so good last weekend against Aston Villa. We're underway tonight against Manchester City, live on BBC Radio Newcastle and also NUFC TV. They have a player down, Miguel Almiron. In fact, it's Fabian Schär. It's a head injury from a ball forward from City straight away. He's on the right side of the field. 2 members of staff, the doctor and the physio, come sprinting on with a medical bag. Kieran Trippier is trying to help Schär in the meantime. It was Haaland who challenged for the ball in the air with Schär. I don't know if he's landed awkwardly, Ando, or maybe got caught by...
No, he didn't
Haaland.
get caught.
Did the ball
it's the way he's landed. No, it's the way he's landed. He's won the ball in the air.
It's his right shoulder.
Yeah, it's just the way he landed.
Newcastle kicking. We have the same view as the television camera pictures. so it's right to left in the first half. The away fans close to the goal that they are defending. The fear would be that Fabian Schär may have dislocated his right shoulder. Anthony Gordon's been over for a word with Jason Tindall in the meantime. Dan Burns having a chat now, and they've sent Jamal Lascelles and Matt Targett and Tino Livramento.
No, it's not dislocated, not the way they're moving that shoulder.
To warm up.
He's getting to his feet.
Still, he's got his left arm across his chest and onto his shoulder. Eddie Howe now chatting to Jason Tindall. A long way back from the technical area, there's actually a tarmacked section between the bench and the technical area, and they're both standing there together. That's obviously within the new rules. We played about 15 seconds when the whistle went to stop the match. Schär is off the pitch at the moment, but we're going to resume. Newcastle play the ball back to Manchester City and Ederson. They're down to 10 at the moment. Dan Burns dropped in alongside Sven Botman at centre-back, with Joe Linton at left-back. And City with the ball in possession in defence, and Newcastle wanting Schär back on, but not able to get him on. The referee's not looking. Now he waves Schär on, and Gordon wins it back and returns it to Nick Pope. Good play from Gordon. Pope's clearance, though, not the best. Straight to Kyle Walker on the right-hand side for City, who are 25 yards out. And now into central midfield, Kovacic to the giant figure of Rodri. Tall and square frame. Muscular midfielder. Back.
No, he's offside, he's a mile off.
Now a long ball forwards towards Kyle Walker. And it was played by City from the right side of defence down to the right wing. Ruben Dias with the pass, but Walker well offside. Newcastle have taken the free kick. Long ball forwards, 3.5 minutes on the clock, and Ederson has it at his left boot in the box. Into Rodri. Foden in between the Newcastle midfield and defence, and then swept out to Grealish on the far left side. Into the centre to Rodri, back towards halfway. And Guardiol, now Foden in that space again between the two Newcastle lines. 0-0 the score. Rodri. Kovacic bang in the centre of Newcastle's half. Guardiol with a big switch. Left-footed to Walker on the near side. Newcastle can't get the ball. Isak the only player ahead of the ball. Manchester City now back to halfway. Ruben Dias back after missing a couple of matches through concussion. Tonali getting close to Rodri, making him play back, and Ruben Dias to Ederson in the D. Has a touch. Tonali and Isak closing down. Ruben Dias in the box. Gordon's there to put more pressure on. They've worked it out well to the right side, and now a long ball up towards Haaland. Schär engages, challenges. Botman then wins it, plays it to Dan Burn. Lifted forwards. Isak was coming back from an offside position, so didn't challenge for the ball. And play continues with Manchester City rolling it back to the keeper. 0-0. Pinged through the centre in between the Newcastle defenders. Nick Pope gathers, lifts it up, and then throws it out square overarm to Trippier on the far side. Good ball at a bit of an angle to Tonali, right side of midfield, and a strong run from Tonali that's stopped by a challenge, but a fair one as he tries to win it back on that far side. Puts a lot of pressure on Guardiol, and Newcastle do regain possession. Tonali involved to good effect there. Almiron for the overlapping Trippier.
Offside.
Flag's gone up as Trippier tried to win a corner on the goal line, approaching the penalty area, and it's a Manchester City free kick. Once again in that position, not a new observation, but Almiron doing what he does, checking back inside, not crossing first time with his right. City with short passes. Anybody else you might consider it risky, but they come away with the ball, and then Newcastle win it just outside the area, but Tonali can't find Isak. It's a blue ball, switched over to Walker, just past halfway into Rodri. Still goalless. Scooped up back to Walker, 33 years of age now. And Akanji, the defender, but playing in midfield at the moment. Grealish looking for Haaland, edge of the area, trying to find space, blocked by Newcastle. Botman, and then Joelinton attempts to bring it away. They've lost the ball. Bruno was involved at the edge of the area. They just couldn't clear their lines, and Manchester City have it back. And once again, everybody bar Isak behind the ball, which is about 35 to 40 yards from goal. Now in the centre with Akanji, back to halfway, and Gvardiol runs over it and plays the pass back to goalkeeper Ederson. Forwards to Rodri, likes to drop in to receive it, does so, and around Gordon to Walker, back inside to the Croatian international Kovacic. In the 8th minute, Kovacic, Gordon gets a boot to the ball, pushes it back, but Rodri has it, and Grealish has dropped in deep on the left side, carries the ball infield at the edge of his own defensive third, plays it around Isak on the floor to Ruben Dias. Walker inside to Rodri, Akanji in the centre circle, back behind Rodri. Pep Guardiola and Eddie Howe both dressed all in black on the touchline, communicating with their players as Manchester City cross halfway on the near side. Their build-up is a bit more patient and perhaps not as electric as it often is, but they can just change like that, can't they, Ando, in an instant?
Yeah, they just feel you out, don't they? They feel you out early on, just keeping the ball.
Probing. 0-0. Newcastle have been in the final third a couple of times, but they've not created anything. Nick Pope not yet required to make a save, and Fabian Schär, after receiving treatment earlier on, seems okay. This is Foden. Danger here. Grealish left side in the penalty area, onto his right. The shot blocked by Trippier on the floor. Trippier when he made the block, and then Bruno fouled near the corner, and Robert Jones blows for a Newcastle free kick.
Yeah, it's on the far side to us. Grealish complaining that he didn't touch him, that he just slipped.
It's good defending by Trippier. Made the block and the ball spun through his legs. He got up quickly, got away. Pope is going to take the free kick from the wrong place, but the referee's saying that's fine, can get on with it. Lots of black and white on show behind Pope as he receives the ball again in the box. Most of the supporters, as away fans do, standing or on their feet. So Manchester City throw near to halfway on the far side. 0-0. Back over on this near side with it, then Walker into Rodri. Square to Gvardiol. He plays it back to Ederson. It's the second most expensive defender, Joško Gvardiol, of all time. It's 77 million. Harry Maguire is the most expensive. I think he was 80, wasn't he? For Manchester United. Long ball forwards from the back from City, but they couldn't take it. Alvarez, and Newcastle have possession. Isak, good strength, carries it and works a pass to Gordon. He did really well there, Isak. And first time they've really had the ball for more than a few seconds. Bruno just behind halfway in the centre circle. Tonali onto Almiron, back to the Italian, first time. Almiron again to Schär. Not much pressure on the ball. Inside to Botman. Bruno shifts it around Rodri and plays it to the feet of Schär, back to Bruno. 10 yards from halfway. Botman again, good Newcastle possession. Joelinton to Bruno and back again, but then they've lost it to Haaland, and Foden trying to get Haaland in again. He's sent him wide of goal, and Haaland has seen the ball slip away from his
Joe
control.
Linton gives it away. You can't give it away in those areas. Thankfully his control then. I'm down for once, Haaland.
It's eventually a goal kick because, as I was saying, Haaland couldn't keep it under his control. He was on the turn, trying to have a look at his options in the middle, and just missed his touch. The ball had sent him wide of goal anyway. They've taken the goal kick, then Tonali is adjudged to have fouled Rodri, leaning into him as they went for the ball in the air. Free kick in the middle of midfield. Walker to Ruben Dias. They've won all 16 home games, Manchester City, in 2023. This is their first of the new season. Ball is at the back, and they beat the Newcastle press by playing it over to Walker, but they've lost it. Joe Linton, it's a ball inside, sloppy, given away to Foden. Manchester City surrendered possession and then get it back too easily. 0-0 in the 13th minute. Kovacic away from Joe Linton, then past Tonali. It's good progress. Fabian Schär, great defending. Ended up on the deck, but made the stop to prevent it reaching Haaland. Trippier and Almiron with a couple of challenges on the far side. Home fans responding as Manchester City demonstrate their desire to win the ball back, and they have it through Akanji, with Walker making the run behind Burn, could be offside. Flag stays down, teased into the box to Foden, shifts it onto his left and then back to Akanji, and he's gone for it and missed the target.
Yeah, they just keep probing, don't they? They just move you from left to right. Walker keeps getting down this right side. He's looking to get in behind Dan Burn all the time. When they get it at the back, he just gets on his bike and gets because he knows he's got the legs of Burn.
Pope was thinking about a short goal kick. He's instead gone long, and Isak makes the run, but it's onto the chest of Gvardiol behind him. Middle of the home side's half of the pitch. And Ruben Dias with the ball on the floor. Lots of conversations on the Newcastle bench. Eddie Howe's called Jason Tindall to him. And having a chat about something now. And it's that ball that you highlighted, Ando, away from Burn towards Walker, into the corner. Walker back to Kovacic, 30 yards out, right of centre. Carries it into the middle. And then plays it right to Rodri. Walker, level with the edge of the box. Back into Rodri and Kovacic. And now they're on halfway with Ruben Dias playing as the right-sided defender in the middle for Manchester City. He's got it again, Ruben Dias. Botman comes a long way from the Newcastle defensive line into midfield, which is what he does, often to receive the ball, but there to close down. And Bernard tucked in. And now Burns almost in midfield trying to win it, but Manchester City through Kovacic and Foden managed to play it long. Trippier gets there before Haaland. Pope doesn't pick it up, takes a touch with his right boot, goes short to Botman and then into a deep midfield position to Bruno. 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle. Bruno gets it from Trippier, lifts it up and away from Alvarez down the line to Almiron, dispossessed on halfway. Tonali had gone beyond. They couldn't find him. And on the centre spot for Manchester City, Mateo Kovacic. What do you make of the opening 16 minutes, John Anderson?
It's what we spoke about beforehand. Manchester City probing plenty of the ball, little passes, trying to drag you out, trying to make you break your shape. Up to now we've kept our shape really, really well.
Kyle Walker back down the line, this near side to Ruben Dias and into his penalty box to Ederson, well off his line, short to Kovacic, back to Ederson. Isak closes down and Tonali made the run, but Rodri knew Tonali was coming in and moved it first time on the turn, curled it away round to Walker, and they're on halfway. Manchester City. Foden's made a forward run, Kovacic still has it. They really are dominating the ball and they've had almost all of the possession so far. This is Walker. Botman brings that one down on his left boot into midfield to Joelinton, takes a touch, finds Bruno, uses it better that time. Joelinton, Trippier now up to Isak. Lovely spin, great spin by Isak. He's got Gordon to the left, feeds Anthony Gordon into the final third, taking on Walker. Gordon breaks into the box, good ball across and cleared out for a throw on this near side. Their first meaningful attack set up by good Isak play, and then Gordon with a dangerous low cross that City clear for this throw.
A great turn by Isak, left the defender for dead. Gordon just gets it out of his feet and just good cross into a good area. You'd have to say it was decent defending at that back post by Manchester City.
Just wanted someone coming in for Newcastle to get a touch. They're trying to go down the other side now. Cher with a good ball to Almiron, who's shown excellent control to get it, and then a ball back to Bruno, who played it for the third man, the runner, Tonali, but it's too close to Ederson.
Yeah, first time we've really got into that Manchester City part of the pitch. Manchester City have dominated the ball.
It's a huge kick from Ederson. Botman is there. Pope was out of his box and a bit of confusion, but they've dealt with it well, Newcastle, and they had a bit of space on the right side. It's gone back out to Trippier, and a good ball over to Byrne, who was free left of centre, and Gordon now down the wing, crosses halfway. Isak on the move in the middle, Joelinton there too, back to Gordon, and they slow it down and play it to Bruno, 5 yards in front of halfway. Tonali slightly behind Byrne, but he'll keep it in on the near side, close to Eddie Howe at the edge of the technical area. Still no goals at the Etihad Stadium. Botman with a pass to the feet of Cher, and back to Botman, who's just dropped a bit deeper. Forwards to Joelinton, just past halfway. Gordon comes inside, it's around a couple of sky blue shirts to play it to Tonali, back to Gordon, and Tonali again, he's moved over a little bit. Tonali switched his position, and now down the right wing Newcastle. Almiron with speed cuts inside, gives it to Bruno, looking for an option. It's Byrne, 5 yards outside the area, to Isak now on the left, back into Bruno, who loses it but then wins it back. Trippier trying to get Isak involved in the middle. Manchester City clear it. Byrne with a header, Foden trying to pick it up, Gordon challenging with Walker. Walker heads on, Foden touches it around Byrne. Joelinton gets involved in a challenge and helps Newcastle divert the ball back towards their own box, and Kieran Trippier completes the work by heading it to Nick Pope.
Yeah, it was sloppy, wasn't it, by both sides? Neither side could really get it under control.
Tonali doing well there to keep it in on the right touchline, back towards the penalty box and over from right to left to Byrne, inside to Botman and Bruno, having a little bit of possession here. United 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle. 21st minute, Tonali's offered himself as an option again and gets it, and trying to stretch the City defence with a ball for Almiron. Isak inside, gets it just outside the area. Alexander Isak could take the shot on, sent wide of goal though, still in the box, back to Almiron, lets it run, then the shot comes in, and Joelinton's effort was blocked. Dan Byrne gets after this and gets there before Phil Foden, 25 yards out. Back to Tonali, into Bruno, looking for Gordon on the stretch, can't get a touch, and it's a goal kick.
Better. At least we're seeing a little bit more of the ball in their final third of the pitch.
Not a criticism of Bruno, just an observation. A couple of through balls from him, just had a bit too much force behind them, haven't they? The one on the right side, and then that one for Gordon.
Yeah, you don't mind that though, at least he's trying to get it into areas.
Haaland's made a run out to the right wing, the left wing, sorry, Newcastle's right side, and Trippier and Botman followed him from the long ball forwards, and the hosts have a throw, which they've taken. Grealish. And Akanji. Ahead of the halfway line. Back to Ruben Dias. Joe Linton pushes the ball away. It's Guardiola in the centre circle. Ruben Dias. He's got it again. Behind Guardiola to Rodri. Pinged forwards. Julian Alvarez. Quiet opening quarter of the match. The Argentinian. Looking to link up with Grealish here. Defended well by Fabian Schär. Slides in. And puts it out for a throw. Level with Newcastle's box. 0-0. Kovacic. Bruno made the challenge, but Kovacic released the ball just in time to Ruben Dias in Newcastle's half. Back to halfway. Gordon closing down. He might have caught Ruben Dias. Referee says play on. Dias has rolled over a few times. Gordon is going to apologise. He's holding his lower right leg, Portuguese defender.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Dan Burns got involved, so has Kyle Walker. Gordon gets a yellow card.
Oh, I tell you what, he does do him.
Caught him with the studs down the calf.
Yeah. I didn't think he did catch him, but he does. Just rolls his studs down the back of his calf.
He's going to be all right, Ruben Dias. Yellow card for Gordon. Manchester City free kick. Listening to BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport back on Monday at 6 every weekday evening. 2 hours. North East's only football phone in, and all the latest news from Newcastle and Sunderland as well. Ball forwards towards Haaland. Pope leaves his box to head it out for a throw. Rodri. Challenge comes in from Almiron. Can't win it though. And Rodri gets it once again over the head of Gordon to Walker. Cuts inside on his right, near to the corner of the area. Kovacic back out wide to Walker. Looking for the angle for the cross. Didn't have it. Back to Kovacic. Now infield to Rodri. Onto Akanji. Straight to the feet of Gordon. Gives it to Joe Linton. Back to Byrne. First time onto Bruno. Takes a couple of touches. Goes back to Pope. And the referee was wanting to give Newcastle an advantage, but they didn't have one. The ball went upfield, and it's going to be brought back for the foul on Bruno, close to the edge of Newcastle's box in the 25th minute.
Yeah, I mean the ball was just shifted, just humped, wasn't it? Humped forward. No advantage there. He took the free kick 20 yards from where it was. Referee didn't even see it.
Byrne, that's a good ball up to Isak, who's dropped off behind halfway. Can't get Gordon in down the line, and Isak has been forced out of play by two Manchester City opponents, which is a bit of a shame because they got it up to him well. They picked up a good position. It's moved over to the far side of the pitch. Guardiola back over to Ruben Dias. Now they're on the move up ahead. Manchester City. Haaland is the target. Hits the floor in the box. Referee says get up, and no complaints from the Norwegian. Byrne down the line to Gordon. First time round the corner, but intercepted by Ruben Dias. Aimed towards Isak, and it's with Kovacic. Jack Grealish inside, but won by Schär. Can't find Almiron with it though. It comes back to the sky blue shirts of Manchester City. Rodri, arrayed from one in black and white, gets a return ball. Rodri then plays it to Trippier. Can't find Almiron again. Akanji steps in to win it. Alvarez, good 30 yards out, left of centre to Rodri. Akanji now on the left wing. Rodri with the ball into the middle. Walker's made the run, but it's behind for a goal kick. He couldn't divert it back into the middle. Would have looked really nice if it had come off from Manchester City, but Newcastle happy that it didn't. And Gordon on the charge, stopped by Kovacic, to the disbelief of home supporters and players and staff. Newcastle get a free kick.
That was a tactical free kick because Walker was still getting back from the run that he'd made earlier. There was a huge space there.
Tonali shifts it out to the right, then goes for the switch. Excellent ball, so accurate. Gordon on his chest, well controlled, and played to Dan Bird. Botman from left side of defence to the right to Share. Long ball to Trippier. Flag is up. Trippier gets back into position. Manchester City, though, not waiting around. Foden and Alvarez on the left and into the 6-yard box. Pope didn't go for it. Botman scoops it clear, but it's still in play on the left wing. Almiron blocks Grealish's pass. Manchester City take the throw. 0-0. Guardiola forwards. Grealish inside to Foden. Flicked back to Akanji and on to Foden again on the left to the England midfielder. Grealish plays it back to Kovacic. Referee steps out of the way. 30 yards out. Ruben Dias back inside to Kovacic. Bruno pushes the ball clear, but Isak, who is always second favourite, and Guardiola gets there on halfway to keep Manchester City in possession. Haaland being challenged by Botman. Haaland's held him off and worked the ball to Foden. Now Grealish in the box. Trippier there. There's plenty of black and white shirts. They make a block. It comes to Grealish again. Dinks it into the centre. Couple of headers. Now Kovacic. Big block on his left-footed shot. It was Joe Linton. Turned his back on the ball, but intentionally made himself bigger and stopped Kovacic from testing Nick Pope. Foden could have a go now, though. Another Newcastle block. Committed defending, still goalless. Grealish digs out a pass and Share with a big clearance. And out it goes off Ruben Dias. Applauded and cheered by the Newcastle fans because they have a throw, middle of their half of the pitch, far right-hand side.
Yeah, having to do an awful lot of defending. Brave defending as well. Getting the blocks in. Manchester City lining shot after shot up. Black and white shirt keeps getting in the way.
Under the lights in Manchester, 0-0. Live on BBC Radio Newcastle. They lost it from the throw. Now they've got it back, and the ball behind Gordon from Botman, near to the halfway line. Throw in taken by Kyle Walker. There's been a few occasions. It's very hard against Manchester City, of course, but they've had the ball and it feels like they've given it away in a manner that they would not be happy with Newcastle.
Yeah,
it's the latest example.
Yeah, it's difficult because you're chasing the ball for such long periods.
Foden, great control, danger, Alvarez! What a hit! And that's the opening goal. Phil Foden with brilliant control to bring the ball down on the right and then play it back to Julian Alvarez, who's hardly been involved, and he has smacked it across goal and into the far corner of the net to make it Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0.
Some finish. As you say, he's hardly been in the game, Alvarez, but that's what he's capable of. Foden does great, it's a great little run, gets it out of his feet, rolls it back into his path, one touch, bang across, Pope into the top right hand corner. Not much you can do about them.
Kovacic's ball. Foden moved his feet, adjusted his positioned so well to take a ball that it looked like he was going to lose, and then Alvarez one touch and Pope on the stretch, but he's not stopping that. It's not quite in the top corner,
it's gone away from him as well,
and out of the goalkeeper's grasp. And it had really been a dominant Manchester City in the sense of possession and territory, but it was still 0-0 up until that point. And Newcastle, as they usually are on this ground, are behind, but they have the ball from the kickoff and Burn in possession. 32 minutes. Joelinton back to Bruno. Then inside from Burn to Joelinton. He's been pulled to the floor by Rodri. They get the free kick. Botman to share. Burn might have to go back to Pope. Does. Haaland closes down, left-footed from the keeper to share on the right touchline into Tonali. Forwards, but Almiron's not going to get there. Gvardiol lets it run. Goes back to his keeper. Some noise from the home supporters following the goal. Foden takes it back from the ball out from the keeper and gives it to Ederson again. This time it's chipped up into midfield. Alvarez on. Foden had made the run beyond, pursued by Tonali, and Tonali with the challenge that has led to a Manchester City free kick.
Tell you what a great little touch that was. Tonali picks up a yellow card as well. What a great little flick it was. He just knows Foden's going beyond him. Just a push in the back, wasn't it?
Is that enough for a yellow card?
Well, he was getting away, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's done it. He's
getting away.
Yeah, it is a foul. It seemed like a lot, but when you're running at that sort of speed, maybe you don't need a lot of contact to be brought down. BBC Radio Newcastle, they are 1-0 down. This free kick is more than 30 yards from the goal, central position. Newcastle defenders near the edge of the D. Alvarez to Foden on his left, on the near right side. Alvarez gets it back, nearly lost it to Almiron, then sends in the cross away by Tonali. Kovacic on his chest and then hammers the shot into a crowd of black and white shirts. Gordon then gets the better of Alvarez, who brings him to the floor. No yellow card for Alvarez, just a free kick, and we play on. Newcastle restarting the match. Tonali miscontrols and it goes out near to the halfway line. Fourth official tonight is actually Anthony Taylor, contrary to what we were told in advance, and he's just been spoken to by Jason Tyndall, the Newcastle assistant. Manchester City playing it forwards from their penalty area, and Newcastle win it back. Now there's space on the right side for Almiron. He's got it on his left, takes it along the 18-yard line, then forced away from goal. Burn inside to Bruno, 30 yards out. Cher will have it. It's just next to the centre circle, so is Botman, who gets it from Cher. Forwards a couple of yards and then to the right to Bruno, pushed over by Rodri.
You get the big fellas forward, get them into the penalty area.
It's close to the centre circle, Kieran Trippier. 36th minute, lifted into the box, nobody made the run. Header from Rodri, might come for Isak. or Share at the edge of the area, appeals for handball. It's half cleared. Gordon takes it inside and almost lost it to Walker. Referee was going to blow for a foul. Newcastle have it. Further back they are on halfway, and now a forward pass to Almiron in the area, onto his left, blocked. Went for the shot at the near side. Just wish he would have the confidence sometimes to go with his right foot.
He hasn't got a right foot.
Referee is saying wait. It might be for that handball that Share appealed for. It's on his chest, edge of the box. Did touch the hand close to the 18-yard line of Kovacic, but his hand was in against his leg, and we're playing again. So Jared Gillett, fourth VAR official, happy that there was no error from Robert Jones. A couple of challenges from Newcastle on the far side of the pitch, but Manchester City have the ball again. Foden. Eddie Howe's team are 1-0 down. Grealish into the penalty area. Haaland makes a darting run. Grealish went for the shot and it's blocked. Almiron then has a touch outside the area, plays a pass to Gordon, onto Isak. Two defenders with him. Isak trying to run away from Akanji and takes it out of play.
Isolated though, isn't he?
Rodri from central midfield to the left side of defence, and Gvardiol. Ruben Dias to Akanji. Tonali behind him. Akanji ended up on the floor, but Manchester City still have the ball. Back to goalkeeper Ederson in the 6-yard box. Fired into midfield. Alvarez trying to help it on. It's come for Trippier on halfway. He's got lots of room. Bruno comes short to get it. Has a look both ways. Keeps possession, Bruno. Pass to Almiron. And he comes back to Trippier. And they're in their own half, Newcastle, but with the ball. Share to Botman. 5 yards behind the centre circle. Now Bruno. Back to Botman. Byrne making a run, and they've gone to the goalkeeper. Pope. Short pass to Share, right corner of the penalty area. Back to Nick Pope. Closed down by Haaland. Trippier on the touchline, and inside it comes, and Botman helps it over to Byrne. That's good play. Dan Byrne striding forwards. Gordon on the wing. Isak through the middle, had a bit of space. They've got Gordon involved though now through Byrne's ball. Into Joe Linton in a central spot in the Manchester City half. Now Bruno looking for Trippier. Support from Almiron behind him. Almiron gives it to Bruno. Tonali back to Bruno, closer to the centre circle than the box, Newcastle. And they've kept the ball for a long time, still 1-0 down with 5 minutes until the break. Share with it on halfway. Every Manchester City player is behind the ball. Share finds a bit of space, moves into it, then gives it to the right and carries on his run, tries to get it back. Do they get a corner or anything at all? It's a goal kick only.
Yeah, they just tracked them, didn't they? Kanji just leans in on him. Ball goes out, goal kick.
But that was Newcastle in possession for a long time. Ultimately,
yeah, but it didn't go anywhere, would it?
Yeah. But it's not something that we've seen a lot of in this first half.
No, they haven't seen a great deal of the ball. Well, when you come here, it's what you expect, isn't it?
Chipped into midfield. Foden with a header back towards his defenders, and Walker to the feet of Ederson. That's a long ball forwards from Ederson. What a pass that could be for Alvarez. Just finding space. Alvarez made the run down the left wing. Foden to Haaland. Left-footed shot from Haaland. Drags it just wide of Pope's left-hand post.
What a ball that was from the goalkeeper. Dear oh dear. You get sucked in and they just find space all over the pitch. Tell you what, I don't think it was too far wide either. Good run, Haaland.
It went through the legs of Byrne and narrowly wide. Joelinton and a player behind him as he brought it under control and helped it on. No free kick, despite some appeals from the Brazilian. Newcastle losing 1-0 here on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's with Ruben Dias. Isak chasing him, he has to go backwards with the ball. It's Vardiol Almiron closing down the keeper, but moved on by Ederson. And Ruben Dias into the middle towards Haaland. Challenge from behind from Botman. Haaland beats his hand off the floor in frustration. Trippier's got it, and Schär now across the centre circle to Byrne.
That's not a kick, has he, Haaland? Hasn't really been involved in the game.
Still in their own half, Newcastle. Schär on to Trippier. And Almiron to get after this. And beat Akanji to the ball. His touch has taken him out wide. And then he's kept it in, but only for Akanji. He will always win the physical battle against Almiron. Now Trippier with a block. Manchester City throw on the left side of defence. A lot of empty blue seats as home fans go inside for half time. Newcastle threatened to win it back there. City get it away. United then clear it through a header, and then a ball helped on by Dan Byrne into midfield, but it's back with the home team. Julian Alvarez's goal is the difference. Spurs beat Manchester United 2-0 in the 5:30 kickoff. And in the late game, Newcastle hoping to get back into it before half-time, which is fast approaching. And Walker with a bit of skill, and then a run through midfield, playing the ball to the left wing to Grealish, in to Newcastle's box. He heads for the goal line, and they managed to see it behind for a corner. Challenge was made by Trippier.
How quick was that break? Dear oh dear.
A corner kick on the far side. Could go short with it. Foden is over there, but it's instead floated into the box, the back of the 6-yard box. A header away by Newcastle and helped on by Bruno. Kovacic heads it straight at Isak. Gordon to the right. Isak trying to find a pass to Gordon, and it just wouldn't come off. Nearly got through. Manchester City do enough defensively to stop Newcastle going on the break. And then a decision goes the way of United, close to the touchline on the far side. I think it's a throw that they've just taken as Grealish looked for a free kick. And from the right to the left, Byrne to Gordon, back into the box to Botman. Bruno fouled by Kovacic. Tap hands, and Newcastle play on. A minimum of 3 additional minutes on BBC Radio Newcastle. Schär to Trippier. Back to Pope. Haaland next to him in the box. Good ball by the keeper. Tonali's got space. Almiron ahead of him on halfway, brought inside and then played onto the chest of Byrne. Crossfield ball from Almiron, forwards to Gordon, carries it inside, and then Bruno to Botman onto Joelinton. Byrne here involved in the play wide on the left. He makes a run down the line, Byrne, after passing it into central midfield. Bruno has it, Joelinton. Byrne still available down the line. 1-0 down Newcastle, keeping the ball.
still with Bruno on halfway. They don't obviously move it as quickly as Manchester City do. They're trying to find the right pass and the right move. Bruno to Almiron. They swarm around in the sky blue shirt. He just gets it back to Trippier in time. Now Cher. Byrne has space, halfway line. Gordon comes across, so too does Joelinton, but it's with Botman. Now Bruno takes it on the turn, centre circle, and gets it out to Miguel Almiron on the right touchline. Trippier goes beyond. Almiron plays in Trippier. Chance to cross. Does. Gordon brings it down in the area, but it's cleared as far as Byrne, who helps it to Bruno, and then back to Botman in the centre circle. On to Bruno, back to Cher. Nervy moment for the Manchester City supporters and players. Tonali onto Almiron. Good 40 to 45 yards out of Newcastle, and Almiron loses it. Gordon unable to bring it down for himself or for a teammate, with the control in the box from Trippier's good ball over to the far post. And Manchester City will be hoping to hear the half-time whistle soon, although they could finish the half on the attack as Walker goes down the right, pursued by Gordon. He's got it in the corner. Dan Byrne gets in and wins Newcastle a throw, playing it off Walker. 10 seconds of the minimum 3. We'll have a message read out at half-time. Send it on WhatsApp, BBC at the start, 08000 321 333. There is the half-time whistle. Manchester City lead by 1-0. Referee checking with both goalkeepers, and he's about to blow to signal the start of the second half on BBC Radio Newcastle, NUFC TV, black and white stripes against sky blue shirts, and 1-0 down after the opening 45. It's Newcastle's ball from the kick-off, and they play it back and then into midfield to Joelinton, and Tonali was pulled down by Alvarez, who's getting booked, yellow carded by referee Robert Jones. Manchester City, with Newcastle about to take this free kick in the midfield third of the pitch. Ederson in goal, Walker, Diaz, Akanji and Gvardiol, Rodri, Kovacic, Foden, Alvarez, Grealish, Haaland up front. City's bench is Ortega the keeper, Phillips, Ake, Gomez, Perrone, Bob, Palmer, Lewis and McAtee. Trippier sends it up to the edge of the area, high ball, lofted forwards. Manchester City win it, then lose it to Newcastle on the far side. Gordon drops his shoulder, tries to get away, turns, keeps hold of the ball, back to Bruno, driven across, header inside, Byrne with a nod down, Isak's gone down in the box, the
Offside.
assistant flags for offside, and Manchester City get the decision. Might have been on Byrne in the middle, as Bruno went for the crossfield ball towards Almiron. It was actually headed back in before it reached the Paraguayan by either Botman or Cher, and Byrne was in the middle, but he was offside as he headed it down to Isak, who got a shove. Doesn't matter though. Trippier and Cher deal with a long Manchester City ball forwards, and then Trippier's passes straight to Gvardiol before Almiron could even get close to it really. Newcastle without the ball again. They are kicking towards the right and towards the away supporters. Botman had hands on Haaland, wins the header, play on. Trippier and Cher and Foden closing down. They give it to Nick Pope, away from Foden and Tonali. So to come towards the edge of the area to get it. Cher to Trippier, Isak in between the Manchester City defence and midfield, turns, plays it to Joelinton. Now Gordon in the box, Anthony Gordon blocked.
Hit Joelinton. Dear, oh dear.
He was lining up a shot, Gordon, and I don't think Newcastle have had one in the game so far. And that effort blocked, didn't travel very far because it hit Joe Linton. And a throw on the right side of defence for the home side, who lead 1-0 on 48 minutes. The throw into midfield, headed on by Foden. Tonali there to mop up. It's been a more energetic start to the second half from Newcastle, which is exactly what you were talking about, Ando. Trippier to Tonali, linking up well. Now Almiron takes it with his left. Trippier working hard to get up in support and go on the overlap. Gets it from Almiron. High cross to the far post. It's missed both Isak and Gordon, but Joe Linton's kept it alive. Byrne goes down the line. Joe Linton to Gordon, takes it, goes around Walker, and I think he went for the shot. It's clear,
Just leaned in on him, didn't he?
By some distance.
He just leaned in on him, lost his balance.
But it was a good Newcastle break, and like I say, the start of this second half has been better. We're only judging it over 4 minutes, but they didn't really do that in the first half.
No.
Haaland with Botman in the Newcastle box. Haaland gets the shot off. He'd stayed right up there, and it was a long, deep kick from Manchester City from the back, and Botman had his hands full. Now Tonali's lost it in midfield as Newcastle try to play their way forwards with short passes, and this could be a problem. Grealish to Alvarez. Plenty of black and white back though. Kovacic near to the edge of the area. Rodri. Walker makes the run down the far side, and it comes to him eventually from a touch from Ruben Dias. Ball into the penalty area. Trippier has prevented.
It's a great ball. It's a fabulous ball.
He's prevented Grealish getting it, but he's knocked it out for a throw. No one went after it though, did they, Ando?
No. No.
Rodri onto Kovacic, quick play, left side of central midfield. Grealish, close to the penalty area, into Rodri and back out wide to Kovacic. 50 minutes played. Manchester City player, Grealish goes down on the edge of the area, challenge from Trippier, play on, long ball, Isak gets after it, Ederson slides on his knees to cushion a header down to Gvardiol near to halfway, and forwards they go to Rodri. Free kick just past the centre circle. Joe Linton with the offence. Oh no, it's Botman, I think, is it?
No, it's Joe Linton.
Joe Linton. Camera's gone straight to Botman. Maybe they're going to show a replay of that Haaland chance from a few moments ago. Alvarez is still down. Manchester City remain in the lead by a 1-0. Lots of late arrivals for the second half in the area near to where we commentate from. Hospitality guests in the restaurants behind the media area. Walker could take the free kick. Few paces in front of the centre circle.
Oh dear.
It was actually Alvarez who took it, and it's a nothing free kick into the box, floated in, nobody there for Manchester City, and Pope grabs hold. Jason Tindall pitch side, Eddie Howe's now off the bench. Tindall steps back towards the seats with his arms folded, and Newcastle playing it down the left. That's a good ball from Tonali. Gordon takes it under control. Byrne goes on the overlap. Still Anthony Gordon running towards the goal line. Sliding challenge from Ruben Dias, and Rodri prevents the corner. Foden keeps it in. Far side of the pitch. Back to Rodri. And Walker in the penalty area. Newcastle still closing down. Gordon might have caught a Manchester City opponent. Oh! Joe Linton's going to get a yellow card now for a foul on halfway. Robert Jones has already reached into his pocket. Joe Linton's off the pitch, looking as though he's hurt himself. He's sending Manchester City players away from him. I think they're wanting Gordon to get a card for that incident with Ruben Dias. Joe Linton definitely getting booked for his challenge. Gordon already booked in the first half. They've got to watch it. Harvey Barnes is getting ready, and it could be a case of taking Gordon off through a substitution before he is sent off. He's only made 2 challenges really. The referee may have that last one in mind. 54th minute, BBC Radio Newcastle. Walker down the line, and that's a foul by Haaland on Botman as he made the run to the right flank to get on the end of the pass. Jason Tindall still with Harvey Barnes. Newcastle playing with the ball now in the right back spot with Kieran Trippier. Share behind him, goes to the Swiss defender. He's turned inside away from Alvarez and played a short pass to Pope and given the keeper an angle. He goes along the penalty area to Botman, chipped up to Gordon. Heavy first touch, and then they've lost it, Newcastle. In midfield, Ruben Dias into Kyle Walker on the stretch back to Akanji. Gvardiol back inside away from Isak. And next time the ball goes out, I think Harvey Barnes will be coming on, and possibly Sean Longstaff too, who's come sprinting back to the bench, takes his yellow bib and black training jacket off. Joe Linton seems to be hurt. Anando, he went off the pitch after he made the challenge on Phil Foden, and that might be the end of his evening. So the 2 players yellow carded there. 2 of the 3 Newcastle men booked are going to come off. Anthony Gordon jogs over to the near side, leaves the field. High five by Kieran Trippier. On comes Harvey Barnes, and Sean Longstaff, a late substitute last weekend, is going to replace Joe Linton.
Yeah, he's limping. Don't know whether he did it in the tackle or whether he was carrying it prior to.
Longstaff isn't on the pitch yet. It's because Joe Linton isn't off it, and it's a heavy limp that he leaves the field with. Longstaff is putting tape around his ankles. Now he's ready to come on. We're on 56 minutes, and Newcastle are losing by a goal to 0. Came on in the 85th minute against Villa. And now got 35 minutes to play. Joe Linton is with members of Newcastle's backroom team. I think he's gone down the tunnel. Long ball forwards from the home side for Foden. Ran after it in the area. Ball then went away out to the left wing, and he's kept possession. Back to Grealish. Akanji's got space. Rodri, who can hit them, instead tries to roll it into Haaland, and Byrne read it and plays the ball to Harvey Barnes. And it's on to Tonali on the far side, helping it on towards Barnes' run. But there was a covering defender. Manchester City have gone back to Ederson. Kovacic to Ruben Dias. Foul by Barnes. He's going to get
a yellow. Welcome to the game.
Minutes of coming on. There's the yellow card. A pull back on Kyle Walker just past halfway. Well, they had a positive 5 minutes at the start of the second half. The last 7 or 8 have been very stop-start, haven't they?
Yeah, very much so.
How do you see it at the moment overall?
I think we're trying to play a higher line. We're trying to press on a little bit more in the second half, but keep giving it away. That's the problem.
It's just happened there. Share with a good win, then a ball inside from Trippier. Longstaff let it run for Bruno.
Keep giving it away.
And City win it back. Then Newcastle commit a foul next to the centre circle. One 0 to Manchester City. 30 matches in a row against Manchester City in which Newcastle have conceded a goal. Still haven't scored here for about 5 years. DeAndre Yedlin, the last player to do it, September 2018. Foden trying to get away from Byrne. Haaland into the area. Great challenge. Goal kick. It's fantastic defending in the end from Fabian Schär, sliding in on Erling Haaland to stop him getting the shot away after the through ball from the brilliant Phil Foden looked like it had given Manchester City a chance to make it 2-0.
What a ball again.
Isak beat Akanji to Newcastle's ball forwards from the back, but then lost it, and then good play from Dan Burn. Home fans appealing for a foul. No decision other than play on, and Newcastle through Longstaff lost it to Grealish, but Bruno back over, and that's turned into a great ball for Almiron. Trippier on the outside. Almiron at the edge of the penalty area. Beats his man, still Almiron. Checks back but can't find Trippier with the pass. And Newcastle are without the ball again, and Manchester City piling forwards. Then they stop and play it back into defence. And a really good opportunity is wasted.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't know what he was doing with it, did he, Almiron? He just ran and in the end just gave it away.
Longstaff makes a really good challenge on Joško Gvardiol to get Newcastle a free kick in their own half, and Trippier playing it to Schär. I don't think Almiron in that position had a clear picture of what success would look like in terms of Newcastle scoring and how he was going to help them do it.
He didn't see anything. See, I've always said this about Almiron. He's great instinctively, but when he's got time to think about it,
still 1-0 to Manchester City. Trippier rises to head away. Grealish behind him. Akanji wins a header for Manchester City. Byrne on the stretch lifts it up into midfield, and it's a free kick for Newcastle. Saying high foot by Alvarez, maybe. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall together talking. Callum Wilson's been warming up, but no further activity on the United bench. Free kick is 40 yards out, left of centre. Schär is round the back. Botman up there too. Manchester City defenders a few yards outside the box. They've gone short to Bruno, sent in looking for Byrne, but Ederson read it. Similar in the initial stage there to the second goal against Villa, where they could have gone long but they went square, and then it went into the box, but Bruno, unlike Tonali who whipped it flat, floated it in and it was high, and Ederson able to come out and get it. The kick from the goalkeeper intercepted by Byrne but picked up by Foden on halfway. 63 minutes. Grealish on a run down this near side, approaches the penalty area, drags it back. Bruno with him, laid off to Rodri, the Spanish international. Made the most appearances last season, Rodri, of any Manchester City player. So important to them in the middle of the park. Guardiola to Rodri again on halfway. Almiron slips and it's on to Foden. Schär gets something on the ball, but it's come back to Foden. Now Haaland, here's his chance. Erling Haaland drags it wide of Nick Pope's Left-hand post.
Foden again. What a player. He just keeps finding them pockets of space. And then he's got so much awareness. It's a great little ball.
A particularly powerful strike from Haaland, who took it away and around Botman in the D and then got it back through the Dutch defender's legs, but it bounced wide of the post. Pope seemed happy that it was always going to miss the target. Elliot Anderson is coming on next, and Callum Wilson is coming on as well. Eddie Howe not waiting around. He's going to make another double change. BBC Radio Newcastle. Looking for a way back into the match. Kovacic and Ruben Dias. And forwards away from the Newcastle midfield to Foden. Now to Haaland, on his left, goes now with his right. Haaland, saved by Nick Pope's boot. Kicked it away, the goalkeeper. But Haaland a couple of times now in this second half has found positions and been able to get shots away at the Newcastle goal, though it remains just 1-0. That could be a foul. It is a foul by Walker on Barnes. Here comes Wilson. I wonder if it will be Isak, or would they put Isak out wide or behind Wilson, take off Almiron and change the midfield perhaps with Tonali. We'll find out in a second. Next time the ball goes dead. Newcastle have it. They played it forwards down the left, then they go back into their penalty box. Share as Trippier outside. Longstaff's available. Trippier's ball angled into Bruno and away for Almiron to race onto down this near side. Isak in the middle. Almiron has held it up and played it to Bruno. Bruno, oh dear.
Dear, oh dear.
Well, it had everything there. It was all set for Bruno to make it 1-1. Almiron played the pass inside, he dragged it forwards. Bruno had another touch but didn't get it right and
Nearly missed it, didn't
really
he?
weak shot trickles wide of the post, and that's a big opportunity for Newcastle. Anderson comes on for Tonali and Wilson replaces Isak. Looking forward to see what Anderson can do after an impressive summer. But that could have been their moment. I hope they don't regret it. Still make one more change, Newcastle. Wilson will be fired up again after being left out. He's closing down Ederson. It's almost on top of the keeper, who plays the pass around him, and they get out of tight spots so well almost every time, Manchester City, and they have done there. 67 minutes into Newcastle's half. Kovacic to Walker, switches it. Trippier's watching the ball, and it's a cushioned header, expertly done, back to Pope. Longstaff and Trippier, a couple of passes onto Almiron. Wilson takes it with his right boot, then back to Longstaff, and Wilson chases the ball, chipped down the line by Longstaff. Good play. Anderson in the middle. Wilson's ball, searching ball, over to the far side. Anderson couldn't get it. Barnes trying to keep Manchester City penned in. Another decent Newcastle break down this right wing, but it hasn't led to anything meaningful. About midway through the second half. Live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Is your level of belief that they can get something grown in this second half, or not? How do you see it, Ando?
I just don't think we're keeping it well enough.
But they have got in a couple of times.
Yeah, but when you get in a couple of times, you've got to make them count.
We saw that last season, didn't we, in the game? Where they lost 2-0, but they played quite well and had chances in the second half. Cher has caught Grealish. He's back on his feet. And those two are having an argument that the referee is trying to settle, just diffusing things. It's Newcastle's ball from a throw, and they're giving it back to Edison Almiron. Last season against the other top teams, it was like this really with results. They won only 1 of 6 against the sides that finished in the top 3. That was Manchester United at home. The draw against Manchester City at St James's was one of their great performances. Eddie Howe described this match as an opportunity for Newcastle to be at their best. They haven't been at their best, but they're not out of it. Only 1-0. Or given away by Manchester City. Wilson with one defender to beat, goes to the left of him and held up by other blue shirts, but they're still on the attack. Harvey Barnes has gone for goal and Edison makes a save. Almiron wanted it edge of the area, just couldn't make.
Well, that's what Manchester City do at times. They get sloppy. They gave it away.
It's Almiron helping Wilson get it, but Guardiola with the important defending.
Diaz gave it away. Wilson, you thought Wilson was in, you fancied him, didn't you?
Almiron was charging forwards to try and give Wilson an option, but he just wasn't quite there. That would have been to the right side. And Wilson went to the left, and then it was diverted away. Barnes took it on.
Bruno's been yellow carded.
Almiron wanted it at the edge of the area, didn't get the ball, and then that was it. And now a free kick for Manchester City in the midfield third of the pitch. Foden is down, a challenge by Bruno, and as you've just said, Ando, has seen him booked.
Yeah, just a little bit late.
$20 minutes to play, 19 minutes to play on BBC Radio Newcastle. Rodri, long ball lifted into the right corner for the run of Walker from fullback. Foden okay after the challenge, involved in the play there, back to Akanji. Wilson closing down. Certainly more energy about Newcastle in the second half, but there's always this threat, especially when Foden gets on the ball. Moving it to Alvarez, scorer of the only goal so far. Look for Foden again, cut out by Trippier, and Almiron, who's really come to life in this second period, on the move in the City half. Akanji with him. Almiron up to the edge of the area, turns it inside. Longstaff just couldn't get there. Didn't have enough on it, the pass from Almiron. Wilson was in the box as well. And it's forwards for Manchester City once again. Livramento, Target and Lascelles warming up. No Jacob Murphy tonight. Could still make one more change, Newcastle. Manchester City haven't changed it yet. The score is 1-0. Ruben Diaz to the right touchline. Walker back down the line for Diaz, into the feet of the keeper, edge of the penalty area. Newcastle push up.
Yes, we've been slightly better second half, but how many times are we still chasing the ball?
Byrne bringing it down from the clearance with his left boot, finding Barnes and Elliot Anderson, one of Newcastle's 4 substitutes. Come on. Botman away from Haaland to Longstaff, has got Kovacic on his shoulder, releases it to Cher, short to Trippier on the line. On this right side, back to Cher and away for Wilson. He's going to battle with Akanji. Defender gets across, wins the header, keeps it in, and comes forwards with it. That's well played by Manuel Akanji. Very well played. And Gvardiol on a forward run. Longstaff slides in to halt his progress. Grealish away from Trippier, free kick. yards out, 10 yards in from the left touchline. Grealish goes to collect the ball. Vanishing spray has been applied to the pitch. Almiron is complaining to the referee about something. He's the one player on the line of spray. He's not quite behind it. And Barnes inside, then the rest of Newcastle's players in a line on the edge of the D. They drop as the ball is sent in left-footed by Foden. Trippier heads away. Kovacic with a header backwards. Bruno challenged for it, couldn't get close enough. Walker out to Grealish, headed on down the line. Trippier wants to let this run, and it does. Did well to leave it with Foden not giving it up. Goal kick. Pope pinged out to Byrne on his chest. Into Anderson, left side of central midfield. Botman back to Pope in the 6-yard box, to Cher to his right. Trippier is available square. Cher's gone long, trying to get Almiron in behind Gvardiol, who's chested it and then slipped, and Almiron has it. Looked to play it through for Wilson, but headed away. Anderson then takes it on halfway around Rodri. Almiron could have it, or Elliot Anderson could try and do it himself. He's played in Almiron just inside the area. Back through for Anderson, good ball. The cutback from Anderson, too much on it for Barnes, but he's kept it in, just on the line. Barnes with good footwork. Now back to Bruno, has a couple of touches. Trippier wants it. Almiron flicks it through. Trippier with a chance to deliver across, looking for Wilson, headed away by City. Out to the corner, and Barnes on the Newcastle left, trying to keep the pressure on. Bruno with him on that far side, brings it infield. Trippier wants it again. Over it comes towards Almiron. Stretching. Does he keep it in? Oh, he's done superbly well, Almiron, but it looked like he'd lost it. That's a great recovery, and they have a throw next to the corner flag.
Yeah, his first touch was poor, got away from him, but recovered.
Trippier back down the right to Cher. Botman over to Cher again. Trippier's available. It's forwards to Longstaff. Almiron could be offside. He knows that he's left it as Longstaff played it, and the move breaks down again.
Yeah, it's been slightly better.
"13 minutes to go. Newcastle 1-0 down, but asking questions.
This is when that trip to Turkey could take its toll on
He made
Manchester City.
On that point, and though he made one substitution, Pep Guardiola, on Wednesday, hasn't made any yet. Newcastle win the ball back in midfield, then they lose it. City have a player down. It's Alvarez. Newcastle come away with it through Botman. Now Wilson, nice layoff to Longstaff, and it could come for Almiron around Grealish, and it has found Almiron. Trying to head into the area. Grealish makes the
Great
challenge.
tackle.
Trippier throws it. Almiron just got there before Alvarez, had to stretch. He's been heavily involved in this latter period, Almiron. This is Barnes onto Anderson, left wing. Wilson in the box, Longstaff in there too. Anderson beats his man, teases in the cross, might come for Almiron, left-footed, blocked by Grealish. That could have been heading towards goal. Trippier to Bruno, Anderson wants it left side. It's towards Barnes, pushed away, and now Foden's nicked it. And on the break, Phil Foden with Alvarez and Haaland in the middle. Fabian Schär steps up, intercepts, and can take Newcastle forward. City players, they could be tiring. They're not getting back. Newcastle with 4 in this attack. It's Burns sending Barnes out wide. Anderson wants it in the middle. It's Newcastle at the moment, but still 1-0 down. They haven't tested Ederson, crucially, despite getting into good positions. Bruno on the ball. Back to Schär. Every Manchester City player behind it. Schär is in front of the centre circle. Pushes a pass out to Barnes on the left wing. Through for Anderson. 3 in the box. Anderson's cross headed away by Grealish, and Alvarez with a touch. And a pass to Foden. And a long ball aimed towards Haaland. Trippier trying to get there. Schär has defended it well. Botman. And Schär forwards. Almiron to Longstaff, right side of Manchester City's half. Almiron again. Plenty of passes from Newcastle. They've got a man free. It's Anderson on the left wing, arms outstretched, wanting the play.
Offside. You can't be offside. You're looking straight across the line.
So frustrating. Not the first time tonight either. It's Almiron. Rubs his black and white shirt against his face. Manchester City, 10.5 minutes of normal time to play. They've been under pressure a little bit. Newcastle have had the ball, but they haven't created that one chance. Barnes had an effort which was comfortably saved. Schär might have been fouled by Haaland. He was. Free kick, edge of the area. And then Bruno, when it opened up for him.
It's all he's done all night.
Bruno, when it opened up for him, was almost on top of the ball and didn't generate any power. Anderson, lovely spin. That's brilliant from Elliot Anderson, and a good ball too for Barnes as Wilson tries to make his way into the box. And now a move on the left wing. Falls down with Barnes unable to control, but Anderson, that was sharp play.
Yeah, great little turn, wasn't it? Left Kovacic. Hasn't really been involved second half. He ran the show first half, Kovacic. Seen very little of him in the second half.
Burn intercepts from the Manchester City throw, then Bruno can't hold it, and Foden, who's been their best player, is taking them into the final third. Alvarez, deflected cross, header from Newcastle in the box, then another header away, then laid off by Anderson, and Bruno making Burn work. He has to get out there and get after it. He's kept it in and cleared by Botman, but picked up by Rodri. BBC Radio Newcastle, 9 minutes to play. I feel like they can keep up. I know Manchester City have the ball at the moment, but I feel like they can keep this up, Newcastle. What I'm not sure of is if they can create that one chance that could get them a leveller, because every time they've got into good positions, shown good approach play, had numbers in an attack, the final ball, the final part that you need hasn't been there. But it just needs to happen once, doesn't it? Longstaff fouled in the centre circle after Anderson intercepted, and they have a free kick.
Yeah, they just need that one ball to fall, don't they?
Eight minutes remain, plus additional time. And
I'm amazed he hasn't made a change, Guardiola.
Well, he's got Calvin Phillips, and then he's got 2 defenders, and then 5 young players who are relatively untested. Trippier with the free kick to the edge of the penalty area. Manchester City header. Then Anderson made a challenge, lost it to Foden, skips away from Bruno. Alvarez on the right wing. He has just taken it out of play. Wanted a free kick, doesn't get it. Newcastle throw. Barnes with it to Bruno. Lascelles has been warming up because Schär has been communicating with the bench, but I think Cher's going to be okay to continue. He's got the ball now.
I think he keeps feeling his hamstring.
Trippier looking for this is Anderson, but headed back by Walker easily to Ederson. Ruben Dias back to the Brazilian goalkeeper, turned 30 on Thursday, Ederson. And it's out to Dias again, far side of the pitch. Grealish takes control of the ball, starts to go forwards down the left, not at any great speed, then inside into midfield. Foden from Rodri onto Akanji, back to Rodri, near to halfway, now further forwards Manchester City with Grealish. Rodri, centre of Newcastle's half, to Kovacic. 1-0 down, 6 minutes of normal time to play. Tino Livramento is going out to warm up. Newcastle have intercepted the ball, they've won it back. Dan Burn with a drag back and a flick through his legs. Botman up to Barnes, back heel to Burn, helped on towards Wilson, might get there, does get there, but the ball goes away and behind Almiron. If he'd been able to wrap his boot around it and curl it forwards, Almiron would have run onto it. Not far away again, Newcastle.
It's all half stuff though, it's nothing that's...
This is Grealish with a good first touch to take him in off the left touch line. I think Livramento is going to come on for what would be his debut. A 20-year-old defender signed from Southampton. He can possibly play on the wing, and that might be where they put him. Botman battling with Foden and committing a foul close to the assistant referee. Livramento's going to appear for the final 5 minutes. Newcastle losing by 1-0. Here's the change, and it is Almiron off and Livramento on. We're playing again. They've taken the free kick. And Gvardiol back to the keeper. Livramento closest to it will close down, and it seems as though he's gone on to the right wing, and no change of Newcastle formation.
No, well, what can you do? I mean, he's essentially a right back. How are you going to change it?
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah.
You know, he'll just go like for like. He's got a bit of pace, he likes to get forward.
So Manchester City throw on halfway, they're not in a hurry. Back to Gvardiol, and Ederson's left his box. It's into midfield, Bruno getting around, Rodri winning it now, can they go? Longstaff looking for Livramento, but it's cleared. Cher with a header, it's away from Longstaff, and Rodri's got it. Grealish drops his shoulder, takes it away from Longstaff, and
great little drop, wasn't it?
To Rodri, and Akanji stopped the game, standing next to the ball, then plays it back to Ederson. And Newcastle now don't have a lot of time. We'll see what gets added on. We're into the 88th minute, and it's still 1-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle. Longstaff closing down, stepping out of midfield into the forward line, back to Ederson. Akanji onto Rodri, and Alvarez has picked up space, and Grealish is free to the left, and Foden to the right, 30 yards out. Julian Alvarez goes for Foden, takes it with his left into the area. Phil Foden to win it and seal it, but it's blocked, and it's a throw.
Yeah, good break again, wasn't it?
Two minutes to play, and go at walking pace across to the ball. Walker then throws it back in to Akanji, back to Rodri, who's dropped in to a defensive position. He's rolled it out of play. He has really tired Rodri in the second half. Newcastle throw. Byrne to take it to Bruno to the left of the centre circle. Across to Cher. Trippier is in the Manchester City half, so is Cher now. Trippier then plays it to Longstaff, trying to find Livramento, blocked by Manchester City, and now they've got it properly, and it's Haaland in a dangerous position, through for Foden. Phil Foden across the face of goal with his right. It's taken a touch, it's a corner. And this will be where Manchester City want the ball, a minute to go, corner kick.
They've missed some chances, haven't they?
Wasn't a touch off the defender, it was off Nick Pope's boot. Now, just purely out of interest with the additional time, because they're taking ages over the corners and the throws, walking across to the ball, as teams do, as Newcastle would do if they were winning 1-0 at home in this part of the game. I wonder if that will be factored in. Grealish delivers the ball towards the back of the box, where Alvarez then sends it into the middle. Pope comes and catches, then throws it to the left to Byrne. 10 seconds of normal time to play. Anthony Taylor has the numbers board. Wilson has run, but didn't get... Oh, he's offside anyway. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough time to create one chance. But the clock is already ticking on that extra period. Home fans have found some volume again. Back to Gvardiol. Livramento, who I don't think has touched it, closes down. Ederson. Oh, there's loads of space.
What a ball.
Loads of space for Walker. Away down the right. Foden in the box. Haaland there too. And he gets to about 15 yards from goal and then plays a long ball back to midfield. Akanji to Walker. And after that little spell that they had, where they threatened Newcastle, Manchester City might feel now that in added on time, because they are keeping the ball, that they have control now and could see it out, or even create a second goal. Rodri, right side of central midfield. Newcastle pushing up as the home side go into their own half, and now Ruben Diaz back over halfway down the line. And one back by United, given to Pope. 3.5 minutes remain. Trippier back to Pope. And then away from Haaland to Botman. Bruno, deep in midfield, but he gets the ball. And up to Wilson. Challenge comes in on Wilson, then another one. And possession is lost by Newcastle. Bruno with a foul.
Yeah, of course it is. Foul all day.
Kovacic, the Manchester City player involved. Pep Guardiola hasn't made a change tonight. Asked a lot of these players but they are just over 2 minutes away from delivering another victory for the treble winners. And there's quite a lot of their fans leave. They obviously feel that it's job done. And
not yet, it's not.
Tonight's EA Sports man of the match is our number 47.
Phil Foden is man of the match. Grealish gets it from a throw on the left. Haaland in the corner wins a corner kick. Manchester City are saying Newcastle aren't far enough back. Grealish has rolled it to Haaland, just going to try and keep it together in the corner. Haaland then plays it in, and half a clearance from Newcastle. Haaland's then got it again on the left wing, played into the penalty area. Botman across, Trippier near to the line. They've got a goal kick, and they might have to go along with it. Newcastle, 1 minute and 10 seconds is all that's left on the clock. The referee could play for longer. It is a minimum of 5 minutes. Fabian Schär passes it out to Tino Livramento. His first touch to control it, then with a second. Tackle by Jack Grealish. Longstaff gets involved, and it's a Manchester City throw. Schär gets his boot to the ball. Bruno, it's bent away off his right boot into the right corner. Ederson leaves his box. Ooh, big swing at it, out for a throw. Last chance maybe for Newcastle. 20 seconds. They might as well push up. Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall telling everyone bar Botman to go. It's back to Schär, on to Bruno, closed down. Trippier back into his own half to Botman. 5 seconds to play. We'll keep an eye on the referee. Barnes to Anderson. He's had a couple of good moments since coming on. That is it. Final whistle goes.